guys, it's Tuesday, and today what we are going to be making are these fun little paper beads. You can see I've got a couple different styles. I've got this one that's just kind of like a straight peg. This one narrows at the top, and this one gets narrow at the top and the bottom. So these paper beads are really fun and easy to make, and I like them because they're great for a variety of ages. You know, little kids have fun with them, I have fun making them, and you can make some really cute projects out of them. And another great thing is you don't need too many supplies. So let's look at what we need. You're first off going to want paper, obviously. As far as what paper you use, I'm going to be using these little nice fun scrapbook paper sheets. I've also got some printer paper that's just colored a nice light lavender purple. I haven't tried it with construction paper, but if construction paper is all you've got on hand, it should work just fine. So first thing you're going to want is paper. Next thing you're going to want is some glue. This is just a stick of Elmer's glue, which actually I found this in a bag that has the date August 2010 written on it, but then that's crossed out. So this glue is a little funky when I was using it to make these beads earlier, but Elmer's glue stick is what you want, probably not one from 2010. You might want to get a new one. You just don't buy glue sticks as much when you're my age. The next thing we're going to want is we're going to want some way to measure. You can use a tape measure. I've got this little crafting tape measure here. And I've also got a measure on my cutting board. It has different dimensions and marks on it. So you can use a ruler, you can use a cutting board, you can use a tape measure, just some way to measure. And then the next thing you're going to want is a way to cut the paper. The idea to make these is you're going to cut the paper into different size strips to get the different looks. So you're going to need either scissors or you can use a paper slicer. I really like this one by Fiskars. It works really great, you can measure it, and it gives nice smooth edges so the beads look extra crisp. Then the last thing you're going to want is a skewer. This is a bamboo skewer here, and this is what we're going to wrap our beads around, because the idea is we're going to take this strip of paper and we're going to roll it up. So we're just going to use this bamboo skewer to roll the beads around. So let's get started. I'm using some 6" by 6" scrapbook paper, so if your paper is larger than this, you want to make sure that the lengthwise of your strip is 6 inches, and then we'll mark along here to measure the different lengths. So on one end, to get this first shape, we're going to mark 1 inch at the bottom and 1/4 inch up at the top. And both of these measurements are being marked from the edge, from the left edge, because what we want to do is by keeping this side straight but angling this side, it's going to cause the bottom to be flat but the top to curve in. And then once we've got our marks made, you can use a pair of scissors. I'm going to use this Fiskars paper slicer just because it gives nice edges, and I'm going to make sure that my marks are lined up, and I'm going to cut from mark to mark. So now I have a strip of paper that's like this. The nice thing about this project is your paper strips don't have to be perfect. So if I was a little bit off of my measurements, that's okay. It'll still work out fine. So cutting a strip like this gives this shape. To get this next shape, we want to make both sides be angled, and we want the skinny end to kind of shift over, if you think about it. Instead of this side lining up with this point, we want it to converge in the middle, not off to this side. So we're going to need to make some more marks. At the bottom, we're going to measure 1/4 inch over. Then the top we want to be 1 inch wide. However, if I measure 1 inch from the edge after we just did our previous cut, this mark is going to line up right above this mark, and this side's going to be straight. So we're just going to kind of rough it. We're going to move this over a little ways, so that way these two marks are kind of lined up in the middle here. And then we're going to mark the 1 inch spot and right here. So essentially what we've done is we've got measured 1/4 inch here and 1 inch here. But instead of keeping this inch shifted over against this edge, we shifted it to the right a little bit, so that way this smaller side will line up in the middle of this wider side. And then I'm going to cut this one out using my paper cutter. And so here is our strip to make it look, to make a bead like this. And I'll point out the difference here. You can see it better now that they're both cut. This side, the edge is straight and it makes a right angle here. But here, this narrow piece is kind of lined up in between. You could draw a line from the middle here and hit the point where it converges. So our last bead type is the easiest to cut. We just want to make it be the same width on both sides. I'm going to make this bead about 1 inch thick. What's nice about these ones is you can make them as tall or as narrow as you want. So this edge here is still straight because we haven't done anything with it. So I'm just going to measure 1 inch in at the bottom and 1 inch in at the top. And then I'm going to cut this side. So here's where you're going to need your skewer and your glue, and you're also going to want your paper strips. So to start, we're going to start with this strip. We want to flip it over because we want the pattern to be on the outside. And then we're just going to lay it underneath here. Take your glue and rub a decent amount of glue on the other side of the skewer. As I said, this glue is pretty old, so yours hopefully won't look quite like this. I'm just going to smear some glue on there, and then we're going to start rolling. Now when we roll, we're going to take this bottom edge and curl it around the bamboo skewer. And we're just going to slowly, carefully tuck that edge under as we curl it around. And because we want one side of this bead to stay straight, as we curl, we want to keep this straight edge lining up. So we're just going to keep pressing tightly on here and rolling this paper strip around. When we get to the glue part, we want to make sure we press really firmly because we don't want our beads to come undone. You might find it's easier if you lay it on the table and roll, kind of like pushing like that. Just make sure as you roll that you keep your paper lined up evenly for the look you're going for. And then once our bead is mostly rolled up, time to get some more glue. Smear it on the end. You want to make sure that the glue goes all the way to the end of the paper strip, or else it won't stay sealed and the end will start to unwind. And then finish rolling the last little bit. Want to make sure once you glue it that you really pinch and hold it for a moment so that way the glue can set. And here we go. This is our first bead. And then we're going to repeat the process for the other ones. When we work this bead, we want to make sure that the narrow part stays kind of in the center. You can see when I rolled this one, I didn't do it so evenly. And so the shape of the bead is a little offset. This side is a little bit longer and this side is a little bit shorter. But you can adjust it however you want. And then when we roll this bead, we want to make sure we keep both ends even. So I'm going to roll these ones up really quick. I hope you had fun making these beads. I think they're also cute, and I love the different way the patterned paper shows when you curl it. But I hope that you enjoy this tutorial. Also, you might notice I'm wearing a pair of paper bead earrings. I'm going to put together a video with some different project ideas because you might be going, cool, I've got a bunch of these paper beads, but what do I do with them? So I'm going to put together a video and giving you some different ideas and inspiration. And as always, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I would love for you to be able to keep up with my videos. And if you've already got ideas now that you've seen this tutorial of what you might want to use your paper beads for, comment below and let me know, and it might inspire someone else to try the same thing. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave those below. I want to hear from you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.